Yes, Harish.
Yeah. So in the day 5, what we have done? So we have performed few CRUD operations from core Java. Earlier in day 4, what we have done? In the MySQL workbench itself, we have seen how to create schemas, tables, and then how to insert the data, select the data, delete. So we have seen all the commands of the DDL, DML, and other commands like these ones: DDL, DCL, DML, TCL, and DQL. So TCL we have not worked so far, so we'll do it in a while. Whereas query language, we have written the select queries, and in the DML, this is what we have focused on yesterday's class. I mean the previous class: insert, update, and delete operations using the JDBC connection. And in the DDL, we have used create, alter we have used, drop also we have used. So, so let me give quick recap in yesterday's class what we have done. So we performed insert, delete, select operations in Java for MySQL. So, so this is what the assignment I have given. Like you need to perform the lab what we have done in the previous class, and also do a read on exception handling and checked and unchecked exceptions in Java. Quick 15 minutes read was there. So, how many of you have worked on, this assignment so far? Divya, Ambika, Kirtan?
Harish, I have done that, Harish,
Yes,
but
Harish.
yeah, I stuck in one thing.
Hmm.
If you have time, I'll share the screen after the class, Harish.
Okay. Divya?
Yes, Harish. I'm done with all that core operations insert, delete, select, update in Java.
Okay, cool. Mm. So, what we'll do today? So, we will write a reusable methods. So, in previous class, what we have done? So, for every operation, right, for the student or mean, for for delete operation, we have written a separate class, and for insert operation, we have written a separate class, and similarly for update operation, we have written a separate class, right? So what we will do today, we'll write a single class. For teacher, we'll write one class, and how to write a different methods in the same class, and how to call them from the runner method, that we are going to see. So in the previous class, we have already seen how we instantiate. Sorry. In the previous call, we have seen how to initialize an object of a particular class, right? So we have seen multiple examples, like creating object of a teacher class, creating object of student class, some buffer readers, and some inbuilt functions we have seen. So today we will see, first we'll write single class. Instead of writing these many classes for teacher and student, we'll write only one class for teacher, one class for student, and how to reuse those methods from the runner class. That's the first part of our class today. And the second part would be uh, uh, taking the user input, taking the user input and writing it to database, writing to database. So here we already know how to take the user input, right? So we have seen the buffer reader class here. So how to ask the input here? So whatever the input we give in console from the system in, so it will take the user input from here, and it use the same methods what we wrote in the previous thing. So all these hard coded values will be replaced with that particular user input from the system, and then we will see whether it's inserting to database or not. If time permits, we will also work on log4j implementation in Java, or we can see this later on. So let's see collections in Java. What are collections in Java? So, so here I'm skipping up a few things. One is like, I'm not telling about any OOPS concepts in details. So I would like you to read about polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation. So read about all these three concepts and see how Java is built on top of these hoops concepts. Okay. So if you read few examples, you will understand much better after today's class. And another one is errors in Java. You already would have read exceptions, right? In the same concepts, you also read errors in Java. So these two concepts you need to read by yourself. Rest we will cover in. Okay. Okay. If you see here, so delete operation we have done, insert we have done, and this MySQL connection. This is nothing but read operation, right? Let me write as read. Read operation. Okay. So let me quickly go through what we have done next in recent classes. Like if you see this one, like whenever you want to connect to MySQL server, see this is where the database is there, right? The SQL server database is there, and you know how to connect from Workbench. So we directly connect for the school schema for this Workbench here. So we directly connect here. So sac9.school is our application name. Just give me a sec. Yeah. So sac9 school is our application name, and so this is our application overview. What we are going to create by end of Java program. So sac9 school, and we have different models here: teacher model, student model, department, sports, subjects, and coaches. So in teacher model, what we have done in the Java code, we have built under sac9 school. We have created a teacher model class, and we have declared all the variables, default constructor, parameters constructor, getter setter methods of this. So we have created a Pojo class for teacher. Similarly, we have created Pojo class for students, and as an assignment for the rest of the module of school, like department, sports, and subjects and coaches, you have to create. So similarly, we created the tables in the SACNA school database, right? So if you see in this database, we already have the tables. Student table is there, teacher table is there. So, but where you are connecting to the server? The server is somewhere sitting it here. We have installed somewhere here in the system. But from Workbench, we are able to directly connect it. View here. This is the school teacher table, and the school teacher table and all we will get. And through user interface, we are working on. But whenever you want to connect from code, Java program, so we follow some sequence of steps, right? This we have discussed in detail in our previous session. Like so the main steps for connecting to a database is create a connection, declare the download the jar file, MySQL. Since we are connecting with MySQL, download the MySQL jar file, and you declare the JDBC driver, MySQL CJ JDBC driver. Once you declare, you need to create connection. So why we will create connection? So because we want to connect this program, this Java program which we are writing here, to this MySQL server, right? So, okay, what are the details that are required to connect to create a connection interface? So, as told, which server the MySQL is installed. This is the server where MySQL is installed, and which port number I should connect, where the MySQL server is getting MySQL server is running on which port, and what is the database I need to connect. database is nothing but the schema. So our schema is sec name school is our schema name. So you need to pass all those details. MySQL JDBC, localhost, because I installed MySQL in my own local machine. So I'm passing localhost, and this is the port number, and this is the database. And I don't want to use SSL because there are some warnings and errors. And what is the username? Username is root, and password is root123. So this is the connection that we are we need to create as a first step to connect to MySQL database. Then we know what kind of SQL queries are working with, right? So we worked with DQL, which is nothing but data query language, which is a select operation is there, and we have DML, insert operation, update operation, and delete operations. So in the DML command, you can't use the statement. So only for query language you can use the statement. For DML, what we are going to use? Insert, delete, and update operations, we need to use prepared statement. Why? Because in the query itself, it will have some parameters. We need to pass some parameters or some inputs in the query itself. So for the select statement, you declare the statement and you pass the connection, which server you want to do the statement. And using this statement object, you execute the query, and this is the query. So select star from teacher, and so you are printing the result. Whatever the result you will get, you will take that into result set, and you will print that result set by iterating by the checking whether it has next element or not, and you will print all the columns of the particular result set. So here one other thing which we need to is the getter objects we are using the result set dot get integer. Why we are putting as get integer for column 1? Because column 1 is the primary key, which is nothing but the student id. Student id is kind of integer, so we are taking that as integer in Java as well. Okay. So similarly, what kind of database and data type it is? Like for example, if it is date, we will do get date. If it is string or varchar in MySQL, you will do with get string methods. So you iterate it, and you print all the things here. Like for example, let me execute that. Okay, so this is the details which are there in the teacher database. So all the teacher names have been printed here, right? So on the column names, we are putting outside the loop. This is loop. How many rows it will be there? That many times the iteration will happen. So we have put the headers outside the loop. So this is the select operation. So for the select operation, which is nothing but DQL, data query language, we are using statement. This is one thing which we have seen. And for insert operation, so you want to insert some record to database. You want to insert some record to database. So what we have done, sorry, insert operation. So this is what it is. Insert into teacher values, and there are 7 columns. So 7 prepared statements we have created, and we have, after declaring the connection to database, we have used that connection, prepared a statement, and we executed that particular statement. And the result what we will get, how many rows it has been inserted, either one row, how many rows it's affected, right? So that it will come. So we are checking here, if result is greater than 0, then we print out result uh, and say one rows inserted successfully. So now what I'll do, I'll put some more number, number 6, and I'll give a different name. Then, so this one will say, okay. So let's see, let's insert this new teacher operation. So one row inserted successfully. Okay, which means if you go and do the query operation, now we should have a total of 6 teachers. Okay, so insert operation is, but if you see here, uh, we are doing each operation in each class. Okay, so for example, you consider a enterprise application which has lot of functionalities like Amazon, eBay, Flipkart. So if you see eBay, in single page you will have some hundreds of functionalities, right? Can you write hundreds of classes here and in a package, and can you manage them? It's very difficult, right? So uh, so insert teacher, delete teacher, update teacher, and read teacher, all this teacher we should write in a single class. Okay, but different methods for that. Let's see how to do those methods in our single teacher class. Okay, let me take a pass. Any questions here?
Harish, can you show once in SQL, Harish? The same Chandan has been reflected over there.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, Harish. Clear.
Okay, so let's create a new class. We will call this as teacher DAO. Okay, can someone tell what is DAO? So when you create a class, okay, so you need to specify author. So author is myself, and why this class is used? This class acts as a access layer object to connect with MySQL database to perform teacher operations like insert, update, delete, and read, which is something basic CRUD operations. Are you guys clear? Teacher DAO means data access object. Okay, so just keep this in mind. DAO means data access object. I'll explain on the three-layer architecture or the MVC pattern. Then you will understand what is the meaning of access object. Okay. For now, you understand that this is teacher DAO. Teacher DAO means all the data base related methods will be contained in this particular teacher method. Okay, teacher class. Okay, what is the first thing? First thing is we need to create connection to database. Correct. So let's go and copy the code to create connection to database. This is what these two lines are required. So let me close other things. Teacher DAO I have opened. So now I'll write a method to return connection. So connection is what we want to return, and the name of the method is get db connection. Get db connection, and you write this connection code here. Okay, so these two lines. Okay, so need to close the class. Okay, these two lines are used to create connection, right? So surround with try catch block. Okay, so once again, let me finish this one, and then I'll explain each and every line written. What I've done here is, so let me remove this code first. So I've created a simple method. Method name is get db connection. Get db connection. So if I call this method get db connection method, so here initially what we need this connection instance. This one we want, right? So for that, so this is what we need to declare. So what I'm doing to get this object, the connection object, I'm writing a separate method in TeacherDAO to which will return the connection of it. Connection is nothing but the MySQL connection using this method in the public. So I'm writing the rest of the code. The code is nothing but these two lines are common. You know these two lines, right? So one is we are declaring the MySQL object. The other one is we are creating a connection here. But this connection object I have declared outside, and then I'm using this. Why? Because the scope of try catch block will be different here. Here. So connection I'm putting first I'm putting as null, then using the driver manager I'm getting this connection, I'm returning this connection. As soon as I get the connection, I'll return this connection. If someone will call this method, if someone, either insert operation or delete operation or update operation, if they call this method, the getDB method, this connection object will be returned. So that is what we want. We also want, right? Okay. So now let's see the connection object method is created here. Get database connection. So now let's do an insert operation. For insert operations, I I want to know whether what we will get as part of insert operation. So we will get the int result. The result we will get whether how many records it's been updated or not, right? So let's go into TeacherDAO and we'll what is the return type of method here now? So here we want connection. So we gave connection. So now the return type is integer. So what we need to provide as a database type here, data type here for the method, we need to put as integer as return type. And name of the method you can give any name of your choice, but it's insert operation, right? So I'll give as teacher, insert teacher, and what parameters you are passing. So you need some data. You need some data to pass it here, right? Okay, for now what I'll do, I'll pass empty parenthesis. I'll not pass any data. Okay, we'll do this later on. We'll hard code the data how we have done for insert one. Okay, so now we need to return some number. So let's say return one. Okay, we'll change it later on. Okay, so now you have, this is how you declare a method, right? So the access modifier, it's a public, private, or protected. Since it's public method, we use public here. And what this method will return, we have seen multiple examples for insert operation. When you insert a teacher, it will give us how many rows it is affected. If it is greater than 0 row, which means a row is inserted successfully. So the return type of integer insert method is integer. So we have specified integer here. Okay, so integer insert teacher, and we are not passing anything. We'll hard code as it is. So what I'll do, I'll copy paste this prepared statement and till integer here. Okay, these are the things. I'll paste it in the TeacherDAO method under insert. I'll paste here. Okay. So now you can see here con dot prepared statement. But connection object is not in the same method, right? It is in this method. Connection object is in this method. So how to get connection object here? So copy paste the get database connection method here and you use this one. So put all this one in a try catch block just to avoid exception handling. Okay. So let me take a pause. Any questions so far here? Do you guys want me to repeat this one, or is it completely understood?
Harish,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, these interfaces and classes, whatever you're using in this class, just to give a high glance, that will be great help, Harish. So you all will be in sync, I believe.
Okay. So do you want me to explain in a high level?
Just a very high level. That's interface, class relations, and what are all the things using this JDBC connectivity you're using, right?
Hmm.
So if you do that reference, it will be great help because this is a basic thing when using core Java connectivity with the database, right? We are using
Hmm.
how core Java is going to utilize here. It will be all the time reference. That is the reason I'm asking for
Yeah. So
everybody's.
we already covered that in previous class, Chandan.
Sorry, Harish. Then you can continue then.
Yeah, so
Sorry
we
for
already
interrupting.
covered in previous class. So what we have done in separate class. Insert operation altogether we have taken separate class. Delete operation we have taken separate class. Now what we're doing is in the same class with the different methods. So I wanted to tell Java methods for them today with a real time example. The real time example for teacher would be doing the CRUD operations for a teacher class, right? First get the database connection in one method, insert operation in one method, read operation in one method, delete operation in one method. That way they will be familiar.
Right, Harish. I'm not asking about the CRED operations here, Harish.
Mm,
Sorry for the misunderstanding here.
mm.
What I'm saying, the class interface and object reference, whatever you're using, right?
Yeah.
So if you give that reference here in the core Java standpoint of view and Java usage standpoint of view, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Got
So
it.
where normally people will get confused, right? So
Yeah.
to get this clarity, I'm just asking, nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I have not gone through interfaces now. So just in the classes, I'm telling Chandan. Let's complete this implementation, and then tomorrow we'll see how to declare interface
Thanks, Harish.
and implement that one.
Yeah, carry
Okay. Any other questions for anyone? Do you guys understand how this method is there and how this method is there? Hmm?
Is it better to repeat once again, Harish?
Okay. So, say, how do you declare method in Java? So, I'll write one more method here. So, that method would be for updating the teacher. Okay. So, to declare a method in Java, the method definition you know, right? So, the method definition is access modifier and what exactly the method will return. So, for example, integer, if I do an update operation, it will return number of rows that's been updated, which is nothing but integer 0, 1, 2, like that, right? So the method return type for update teacher would be integer, and the name of the method. The name of the method is update teacher, and what we are going to pass to this method. Okay, so we will pass which teacher ID should be get updated. Teacher ID should get updated. So for example, if I ask for 4, that teacher 4 should be updated. Since we have specified integer as a return type, so we need to return something here. So return uh, result. Okay. So what is the update? So we have seen in the update operation what we need to do. So we need to write a query here. So write a query, create a prepared statement, and then you need to execute this query, and then you need to send the result. So these 4 lines will be used. So I'll copy paste all those 4 lines into this particular method. Okay. So I'll initialize this int result outside. Okay. So here connection. So connection we are not writing for every method. In the class we'll write only in one method, and we'll reuse this method everywhere wherever the connection object is necessary. Correct. So what is the name of the database connection method? Get DB connection. So I'll replace that method here in the name of connection object. So put all these in try catch block. initialize the variable. Okay, so this is how you create a method. So in Java, when if you want to create a method, you need to understand how a method will be created. Okay, I told for anything in Java, either to declare a class, to declare a variable, to declare a method, you will have a definition, you will have syntax and semantics. So in order to declare method, what is the return type of the method? I mean, this integer, and is the method public, private, or protected? So that you need to specify, and name of the method, and what are the parameters you're passing inside the parentheses. Parameters here, we want to update particular teacher ID name. So for example, teacher 5, I need to update where teacher ID equal to, we'll pass this one here. Okay, teacher ID is nothing but here we have hard coded, so this teacher ID will pass it here. Okay. So if you ask for teacher 2 to update the first name as Litu, here the last name as Litu, it will get updated. So we'll pass the teacher ID here. So what is the result? The result, whatever it has been executed, either 0 rows affected or 1 rows affected, you will get that result here into this result variable which you declare, and you will return this result. It will come here. So whoever will call this update teacher method, they will get the number of rows that has been affected. This is how you declare the different methods in a same class using the one database connection method. Okay, so now we have insert teacher, update teacher. Similarly, let's write for delete teacher also. So for delete teacher also it will be same. So we will use database connection. So let's change the name of the method, delete teacher. So we will pass teacher ID, which teacher to delete, and the query should get changed here, right? So what is the query here? Delete from teacher where teacher ID equal to question mark. So in the teacher DAO, go to delete operation, update the query here, get the query, and we just need only one prepared statement. So because we have only one question mark, and so that question mark is nothing but teacher ID we need to pass. So we are having teacher ID here, pass the teacher ID to that particular prepared statement. So it is nothing but set integer. And so we have database update query, we'll get result, and it will tell number of rows which have been affected. Are you guys clear here?
Yes, Harish.
Okay. Others, any questions? Have you understood or not? Divya, Pritika, Kirtan.
Sorry, no questions.
Okay. So see, now we have single class here. Single class, we create a database connection method. We have insert, and we have update, and we have delete operations. We'll write one more operation, select operation or read operation later on. For now, okay, well and good. Instead of writing all these classes, delete operation, insert operations, read operations, and inserting, sorry, read, insert, delete, and update operations, we wrote in a single class. Well and good, right? But if you ask me, see here, every class has a main method. Inside main method, we have written and we executed. But in teacher data access object, we have written different methods. Now, how to call these methods? How to call these methods and execute these methods, and put the data from core Java to MySQL server database? This another question. Okay. So usually, where we'll run the application, The Sackname school has only one runner class. So this is the runner class. So we have main method here. So we have main method. So we'll run everything from here. Whatever you want to execute, we'll run it from here. Okay. So for now, let me remove all these comments. Whatever I wrote earlier to read the console input and print it here, I'll comment that one. For now, let's call the teacher data access layer and insert some data to database. Okay. So first thing what we'll do, we need to insert a teacher. So already we have some values here. Let me change them. I'll say Chandan 1, Navara 1, Bangalore 1, and I'll put ID as 7. Okay. So this is what I want to insert. So insert teacher, which this method is there in which class? Teacher data access object. So in the school runner class, let's see how to create data access object. So how to create object for data teacher DAO. So create a object for teacher DAO. So we know how to create object for a particular class, right? So what the class name? You can give the object of a class teacher DAO, any name equal to new teacher DAO. Just import this class. This is how you declare object of any class, right? So there are some methods in the teacher DAO like delete, insert, update. This is our runner class. From here, we want to execute these methods. If you want to execute a method which is there in a different class, okay, first what you need to do, you need to create instance of that particular class, instance or object. This is how you create instance or object. We have seen in our class 2 or class 3 how to create object of a different class. So this is how we create object. Now first what we need to do, call insert method. Call insert method. Okay. So how to call this particular insert method from here? Insert teacher method. This is the object of class which we created. Object dot class dot insert dot insert teacher, right? So call this method. So do you want to pass any inputs? We no need to pass any inputs. Why? Because it doesn't have inputs here. It's not taking any inputs. It's empty here. All the values are hard coded here. We'll change that after some time. For now, when you call this one, what it will return? It will return integer. It will return integer. So declare an integer variable result equal to whatever you will get, you will put it here. So now how can you tell whether this method what we have called is successful or not? So you check if result is greater than 0 rows affected, is greater than 0 rows affected, then you print teacher insertion record is successful. Teacher insertion record is successful. Let me take a pause here. Anyone have any questions so far? So we have done only two things here. One, we created teacher data access object. Now we have all the methods here. Insert teacher method, delete teacher method, update teacher methods in single class. And now from the runner class, we created the second thing. We created a object for this teacher data access class. With the help of this created object, we are calling the insert method, insert teacher method in the runner class. Okay. Any questions so far? Guys, it should be both interactive. If you guys are silent, it'll kill both of the time. So you let me know if you have understand or not, so I can repeat the class again. So okay, now from the runner class I have executed. So it shows teacher insertion record is successful. Can someone tell how exactly the flow will go from here? The main method is here, the execution will come here, and so we got this teacher insertion record successful. And if you go to the database and see here, Chandan 1, Navara 1, the seventh teacher has been added successful. So now what I can do, I can delete this class, insert operation, delete this one. I can delete this into student as well. Okay, so now I deleted insert teacher operation class itself because I don't need it, because this method is working in the teacher data access layer. So now we have seen example for insert method, right? So in the same teacher data access layer, I want to call update teacher method. Okay, now inserted Navara 1, right? I need to change, sorry, okay, instead of last name, I will consider address. Bangalore 1 is there. I want to change this address to Chennai. Okay. And what is the ID of the teacher? The teacher ID is 7. Okay. So let me call update method. Update method. So I'll comment this insert method for now. In the update method, so how can I call the update method in this class? So the object of the class dot name of the method update teacher, and here it is taking input. What is the input here? Teacher ID, which is nothing but 7. You know which teacher you want to update. Then, so what this teacher will return? Update teacher, it return integer. So declare a variable here, int result equal to. Now whatever the method it will return, either 0 or 1, it will come and store in this in the result. So now you can print this one here. If result is greater than 0, teacher update record is successful. Teacher update record is successful. So if you go to the update teacher method in this class, so set, I will change the query here, address equal to, here instead of it to, I'll put as Chennai. Okay. And the teacher ID, I'm getting it directly from the runner class. So wherever I'm calling this method, there only I'm passing this input as 7. So when I pass this input as 7 in the update teacher, the input is 7 here. I'm passing it directly to the second query. The first query address I'm putting as Chennai. Okay. Let's run this one from the school runner. Teacher update record is successful. Teacher update record is successful. So if you go and verify here, Chennai. Okay. So the update operation is also successful. So I can delete this class as well. What is the next one that we have? So update. I'll comment this update one. So next one is delete one. So what I'll do, so the delete also will return integer. So integer result equal to, and how to call that method? So this is the class where the method is there. Class object dot delete teacher, and I want to delete the teacher ID 7. So whatever the Chandan one, Navara one is there, I want to delete that one. So if the result is greater than 0, then teacher record is successfully deleted. Okay, so if you pass 7 here, what will happen? It will go to this method. Okay, 7 will come here. We have only one parameter that we need to set in the prepare statement, which is teacher id. So we'll set it here. What is the query? Delete from teacher, where teacher id is 7. So what is the 7 teacher id here? It is Chandan 1, Navar 1. So this should be deleted from the database. So if you come and execute this one, teacher records successfully deleted. So if you go to the database here and if you refresh this, the 7th record is removed successfully. Are you guys clear?
Yes.
Yes.
And so now what we can do, we can remove this delete operation also. We can delete that record also. So now we have one more operation, a read operation, so which we have not implemented here. So what we'll do, I'll say public void. I don't want to return anything. Whatever I'm getting, I want to read it there. Select teacher. Select teacher, I'll mention. And the return type is nothing to return. So whatever is there here in the read operation, which is nothing but statement, result set, and you print this. I'll paste inside this method. So simple. Here I have not done anything. So since it is DQL, data query language, we need to use statement instead of prepare statement. So database connection, we'll get connection here, and we'll create a statement. Whatever the query we are passing, select star from teacher, we are getting into result set, we are printing that result set here. So right now, select teacher, this is the method name. So let me call this one from here. So here, I'll just comment this delete teacher as well. And I'll call that particular method with the help of teacher object. So it will not have any return type, so nothing to take. Since it is void, void will not return anything. So we no need to do anything. If you just call this method, then automatically it will print whatever the records are there in the method itself. So you can see in the console. Okay. Now let's run this student runner. Okay. So the first part of today's agenda is complete. So now the read operation is also done. So there is no necessity for me for that class. So I'm deleting that one also. So now if you observe here carefully, okay. Earlier in this class, in the school.db package, how many classes we had? We had 4 classes for teacher. 4 classes for teacher. One is for read, update, delete, and other operations. Now, how many we have? We have only one class, which is data access object. In the same class, we have written multiple methods. We have written multiple methods here. Insert method, update teacher, delete teacher, and select teacher. Like that, we have written multiple methods here in the same class. Are you guys clear here? Now we have only one class. So you can call any method from anywhere. say for example, I'm calling from school runner here, school runner. So if I want to call this method here, what I should do? I need to create object for this class. To create object, class name, you can give some name equal to new class name. When you put new class name, it starts allocating some memory through default constructor. Okay, now you got this object. Using that object, which method you want to call? Either select or delete or update or insert. So you have all the methods in single class. So if someone will ask, say for example, let's consider you're building a huge application like Amazon. You will have a product data access object. For product, how many you have? Insert update product price, update product description, update product detail. Like that, you will have hundreds of methods for product, right? So all those methods you can have under one class. So it will be easy for a developer to come and look at it. Are you guys clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, so now few things we will do. So select teacher is fine. So it will just read the table. For delete teacher is also fine because we'll pass the input from here. Update teacher is also update teacher. We want to see which record we will update. So we'll do it this later. For insert one, okay. For insert teacher, this method, right? Insert teacher method. We are doing hard coded everything from here, right? We are doing hard coded here. Okay. So what we'll do now, you need to read this input. You need to read this input from system, take the input from here and insert into database and read all the table after insertion. That is what we want to do. Runner class. Simple things. So we'll uncomment this code. Insert into teacher. Insert into teacher here. So what you need to do, you need to delete this hard coded values. So 7 is what here? First argument 7 is teacher ID. Int teacher ID, comma. Second one is string first name. String first name, then string last name, and then we have date of birth and other things. So we'll consider it as string. DOB, string DOJ, string address, and integer subject ID. So now we are passing inputs from here. So instead of hard coding, I'll replace these values from this one. Teacher ID, I'll replace with this. First name, I'll replace with the first name, last name, DOB, DOJ, address, and this is subject ID. Any questions, any doubts here? Earlier we had hard coded values. Now I removed hard coded and I'm passing the arguments from the method. Okay. So now in the runner class you will have error. It is showing error. Why? Because it is asking to have these arguments. Pass these arguments here. Okay. Whatever we hard coded there, we need to pass here. So 7 First name is Chandan, like that we need to pass it here. So what I'll do, instead of passing it from here, so we wrote a code here. If you remember, we wrote a code here to set the teacher object. So I'll remove this line. So I need buffer reader. I need input stream reader. Okay. So what I'll do, so I'm declaring buffer reader. Listen carefully. So we have discussed this in previous class also, but again I'm repeating. So we have buffer reader. So buffer reader is used to read the input from system console. So we can also use scanner, but I am explaining about buffer reader equal to new input stream reader and system.in. System.in means it will take the input from the console. If you do system.out means it will print in the console. In means it will take system to the console into the console. So first we are asking enter teacher ID. Enter teacher ID. So what it will print? It will come and print when you execute this one. It will ask enter teacher ID. If you give 1, so now you will read teacher into this variable teacher ID equal to into that parse int br dot read line. So whatever you will enter in one line and enter, it will go to this one. Then you will ask enter teacher first name. So then what you will do? So here you will say string first name equal to br dot read line. Then it will ask enter teacher last name. So then same thing, we'll declare one more variable last name br dot read line. Then it will ask enter teacher date of birth. So I'll take this also as string dob, and similarly enter date of join. Date of join. Then enter teacher address. It will store in the variable address. And you want subject ID, which subject ID the teacher is telling. So you put integer subject ID. Enter teacher subject ID. Okay, so now you're asking the user in the console, you're taking the input from the user from the console. Asking the user input from the in the console, which input you want to enter, you're taking the input. Then again you're asking for the last name, you are taking that whatever we entered in the console using their read line into last name variable. Then you are asking the database of a teacher, date of birth of a teacher, and you are taking into date of birth variable whatever we enter. So we are asking the user to input date of join, we are taking into this variable. Address, we are taking into this variable. So similar, now we have got all the required variables what we want. Okay, so now for this method, what is the input we want to do? Int string 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 string. If you pass this method, this error will go. Why? Because now the teacher the insert teacher method need this input. Earlier we hard coded, but now if you want to run this method, if you want to run this SQL method, you need these inputs to be. Whoever will call this method, they should pass this input variables. So now input variables from where we are getting? From console we will get these input variables. Okay, and you pass this to insert method. So first what we need to pass? Teacher ID, then teacher first name, then teacher last name, then date of birth of the teacher, then date of join of the teacher, and address of the teacher, and which subject ID the teacher will take. Okay, the user will provide all the inputs from here. Okay, so then it will take this one, insert, and it will tell whether the insertion is successful or not, and then it will read all the uh, records in table. Records in the table. Okay, for now, how many records are there? 6 records are there. Let's insert the 7th one using this one. Okay, let's run. Let me run this one. Any questions here? Do you want me to repeat this one or?
Harish, yeah, couple of questions, Harish.
Yeah.
For integer, you put integer or parse. Why not for string, Harish?
See, by default, what you enter will the console will read it as string. Okay, but
Mhm,
uh, integer teacher ID is there, right? You can't put string
mhm,
into
mhm.
integer. This is
Yeah.
string value, so you can't put that. So let me remove this one integer that parse int. If I remove, you can't put
Mhm.
string into integer. You can put only integer into integer, correct? So there is a method
Okay.
called integer.parseInt. Integer.parseInt, and if you pass some value,
Mhm,
okay, so like 300, if you pass, now this 300 in the selected whatever I selected in the read line, it is considered a string. If you pass into this method, integer.parseInt method, it will be converted to integer. 300 as numerical integer.
So apart from string, for any other data type, we should mention that parse, Harish.
See, for integer, it is integer dot parse int. For double, double dot
Yep.
parse double.
Mm.
Like that. See,
Oh.
if it is string, you can whatever you are reading is
Uh-huh.
string, so it will you can directly set to string
Mhm.
value. But if it's a different data type,
Okay.
you need to convert that and you need to send it over.
Okay. And yeah, now actually, your intention is to fetch the values from this Java and put in SQL database, right?
Yeah,
Is there any option to get these values from external files like Excel and all, and can
yeah,
we
yeah. We can do
directly?
that. See, right now here, what you're doing,
Okay,
you are reading from the console. This buffer reader means
okay,
you
yeah.
are taking the input from this console, from the below wherever I'm highlighting,
Mm-hmm,
you are taking the input from here.
mm-hmm,
If you write the code
yeah.
here to read from
Mm-hmm,
Excel or to read from the JSON
mm-hmm,
or to read from external file,
mm-hmm,
it will take from the external file.
mm-hmm,
You can delete this one. You can write a code to read
mm-hmm.
the file and input the supplies from the file.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So here what the inputs you given, the sequence should be same as in the sequence in the Excel, right? Like teacher
Excel in
ID,
the sense.
first name. So in Excel sheet, the format will be like example. Uh, okay, yeah, we'll discuss it about later. Yeah.
See, in
Now,
Excel,
so we
what
can
you are
put from
reading,
Excel
see,
also, right?
you are reading column one means what you will put in column one. Whether you are going to put teacher ID, it will be teacher ID. Column
Mm-hmm.
two, you put first name, it will be first name. Column three, you put address, then
Okay.
it will be address. Then you
Mm-hmm.
need to set column three
Okay.
here, not here.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay, let me repeat this again. So what we are doing here is we are inserting a teacher. Earlier, what we have done, we hard coded the values. When you call this method, we didn't had any arguments here. So whatever we hard code here, it will enter. So every time you need to come to this method, change the ID, change the first name, change the last name, change the date of birth, change everything you hard code, then you need to insert. Rather than doing this one in the Java code and putting into database, you can directly come and insert here only, right? Why you want to go and do that? So what I have done, so here I have removed everything and we parameterize this one. Okay, So as per this one. So now whoever will call this method, they need to pass these values. So now what this method will do, it will take the input of a teacher record. If they take the input of a teacher record, and it will insert into database, and it will give the value what is getting inserted. Okay, so let me return this result. Integer result equal to 0. Okay, so now it will take the whoever is calling this method, they will send the values what they want to insert to database. So this will insert into database, and it will return the result how many rows it has been affected. Okay, that is the fund of this particular method. Now who is calling this method? School runner is calling this method. Now here earlier we have seen how to hardcode and send the database. Now I want to read the input from the user from the console. I want to ask, okay, enter id, enter student id, teacher id, enter teacher first name, teacher last name. I'll take the input from here, and if I click, okay, do you want to, if I ask, do you want to enter insert the record, it will directly insert it. So right now here, after gathering all the input, we'll ask the, we'll show the input to the, one second, system. User provided input is okay. So teacher first name, last name, date of birth, subject. Give some space so that you will understand. So whatever we entered, we are confirming. Okay, this is what we have entered. Okay, we will ask user again. Do you want to insert this record to database teacher table? So you'll ask a question, and you need to type yes or no. Okay. So if he type yes, then we need to insert. If he type no, he no need to insert. If so, let's assume if user is typing yes, br dot read line, br dot read line dot equals ignore case, equals ignore case, yes, then insert this record, and you display this one. Insert the record in the display. Else don't records not inserted. Did you guys understand? So now what I have done, so after collecting all the information from the user, I'm showing whatever the variables that we have stored right here, first name, last name. We are printing it here in the one console. User provided input is this one. Do you want to insert? Do you want to insert this record to database teacher table? You type either yes or no. If you type yes, Then we will insert this one. If the br.readline is the way, we will read dot equals ignore case means capital S or small s, whatever the user will type. Then it'll enter into the database, and then it will print all the database records. Otherwise, record not inserted, we will just call the whatever the records are available. So now there are 6 records in the table. There are 6 records in the table. Let me execute this one and we'll see. Okay. So enter teacher ID. So I'm putting the 7th teacher ID here. First name is, so I'll put it as let's say Naresh. Last name is Timu. Teacher date of birth is will what is the format of date of birth here? So I'll copy paste something here. This is the date of birth and date of join. I'll say 2023. And address I'll say is Kolkata. And which subjects he'll teach? He'll teach subject ID. I'll put as 1. User provided input is 7. Naresh, Timmu, this one, Kolkata, this one. So do you want to insert this record to database teacher table? You type yes, it will insert. If you type no, it won't insert. So for now, I'll put no. The records not inserted. So whatever the records are there is only 6 records. Why it is not inserted? Because when we typed no, this brd.readline is contain value no. If since it is not yes, it will go and execute else value. Else is nothing but records not inserted, and we are just printing out the teacher's values, whatever is there. Okay. Did you guys understand so far? So now let's do a proper insert operation. So teacher ID, I will put 7. Naresh, Timu, date of birth, date of join is 2023. Teacher address is, I'll say Kolkata.
Are you pressing enter to get another next value there in console?
Yes. Br.readline means 1 enter. So this br.readline means enter. So I type enter. So now it is asking for teacher value. If I type yes and press enter. So teacher insertion record is successful. If you see the total numbers, 7, Naresh, Timmu, and everything. And if you go and see the database here, you can see the 7th record has been inserted. Okay.
Harish, after that, yes or no input, we are not doing any BR read operation, right?
Here doing no. So do you want to insert into database? Yes or no, right? Here we are, if br.readline. Okay. If br.readline means yes.
Okay.
If yes dot equals ignore case of yes. Okay. Yes. Since this and yes and this yes is matched, so it inserted that record. So teacher insertion record is successful. Okay. This is successful. And it has printed out all the teacher table. Okay. See, until unless you practice, refer this video and you practice, you will still have issues. Okay. So if you sit and practice, write yourself 2-3 methods. Now, if you see yesterday's project and today's project, lot of changes. See, in this package, we had 4 classes. Now you have only 1 class, and this class also was hard coded. Now, what we have done, we removed all those hard coded values, and we are reading the user input, and we are sending and we are inserting. Okay, so if you want to insert 5 students, what you want to do? Now, if I execute this program one time, I can insert 1 record, right? I want to insert, okay, let's say 3 records. I want to insert 3 records. What to do?
We have to loop.
Yeah, you need to put a loop. See, so for example, I'll ask here. So here, before asking teacher, so you ask input. How many teachers do you want to insert into database? Question mark. So whatever the user will give the input, so put it into string. Integer number of teachers. I'll create a variable equal to br dot read line. Since this is string, I want the number in integer. So what I'll do, integer dot parseInt. I'll pass that br dot read line into that value, so that I'll get the count whatever says. If I give 2, that 2 will be here. So what I'll do here, so this is the from here. If I want to insert one teacher from here till here, I want to enter, right? So I'll put all this thing in one loop. For integer I equal to 0, I'm declaring integer I equal to 0. I less than or equal to number of teachers. Increment this loop with 1 from there till here. Okay, so what I've done, this is one operation of inserting a teacher till here. So what I have done, so I will ask how many teachers we want in. If I put 3, initially I equal to 0, I less than or equal to 3. I will put 3, right? It is true, so this will get inserted. Then after the end of the loop, again I will become 1. It is still correct, 3. So again it will execute second time. So now I value will be 2. Then I value will be 3. 3 is less than or equal to 3, correct? So after executing 3 times, I value will be 4. So this condition will become false and it will stop executing. So that if you put in a for loop, this code, it will get executed 3 times. So let me execute, then I'll answer if any questions. How many teachers do you want to insert into database? Okay, I'll press 2 and I'll press enter. So it will ask the teacher ID. I'll say 8. I'll say A. Last name as B and DOB as okay. 1989 1 and 2023 2. Teacher address is I'll put it as Mumbai. And subject ID I'll put as 1. So this is the information. So if I want to insert, I'll press yes. Teacher record is successful. This is what it is inserted. 8th record is done. And again, it is asking for teacher ID. Okay. Now I'll put teacher ID as 9. Teacher first name as X. Teacher last name as Z. And date of birth I'll put as this one. Enter. And date of join I'll put as 2023 and enter. Teacher address I'll put as Pune and subject ID as 1. So this is the information we want to insert into table. I'll press S. This done. So we put only 2, right? So I equal to 1. Sorry, it should not be 0. It should be I equal to 1. 0 means it will start from 0, 0, 1 and 2. So total 3 will come. So let me put third one also. 10. First name as X, second name as J. But what's subject ID is 1. So if you see here, three, now I kept two, user input as two, but it took me three inputs. Why? Because I kept I as 0. I started from 0. It should be from 1. So even if you start from 0, then you should not put I less than or equal to. If you put I less than 3, then that should be fine. Since I kept I less than or equal to, you need to start from 1. Okay. So this is how you can write a repetitive of code. So if you see the database now, you can see the other teachers have been added here. Any questions?
No.
Okay. So after this call, I'll upload the video. So if you practice, so I did for teacher as assignment, you do for student. Okay. The same after you do the lab, whatever we have done so far as is, and then you create a student object instead of teacher, and you do for student. Okay. If anyone has issues, we can look into that. Okay, any questions? See, this is very important. So you refer to the video, you do the class, you practice it once, twice, then only you will understand the concept in much better way. So even if I repeat for 5 times or 6 times, you still have issues until you practice the class. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll update this assignment. So perform today's class as lab and and complete student DAO, data access object. Okay. So this is what you need to do. So I'll update this assignment into Drive and also the video.